Привет, comrades. TFCom here. There's been a lot that has happened since I last made a video. Um, I would love to go into it all right now, but honestly, I feel like shite. Um, Short story, I'll do a longer one later, but I started a new medication today for my bipolar, and honestly, I'm having some pretty bad side effects. Not like I'm going to die, but like extreme lightheadedness, um, very bad stomach pain, um, very bad, like really bad nausea, some gas. That one's more funny, but hopefully those clear away soon, and I'll be feeling better to make more videos for you guys. Just opening my mouth now is not helping with the nausea at all. Well, I do want to get into one thing from that happened on Sunday. I know it's probably not a good idea to attempt to make a video when I'm feeling sick, but I'm going to. It's also not a good idea to go to work today, but... So, on Sunday, I made a post on Twitter. I'm not sure how many of you saw it, but it was a picture of me, my partner, and Skylar, with the caption, Wedding Day. Or Wedding Time. I think it was Wedding Day, though. And I was expecting a lot of excited responses about that. People, congratulations or something like that. Sadly, none of you responded to it. You don't love me. But I guess you guys just saw through my trick, I suppose. It was actually not my wedding, but my sister's. Now, I call her my sister, even though she's not technically. Her dad used to be married to my mom, but they got a divorce. So I still consider her my sister, but we have no marital or blood relation. Now, she was really close to me when we were growing up. We called each other twins because we looked identical, despite not having any shared DNA. We looked identical, we acted the same, we would wear matching outfits, we'd finish each other's sentences, we'd pretend we could read each other's minds. Like, we were very much the twins. She's actually like 4 years older than me, but due to thyroid disorder, she's the same height as me. Now I'm taller than her, but we were the same height, and we always wore matching outfits, have the hair the same. We very much look like twins in all ways, and it was really, really cool. But she got married on Sunday. And she looked beautiful. I'll give her that. She looked gorgeous. But my mom decided to upstage everyone, like she always typically does. So, my mom wasn't even invited to the wedding, but she shows up in a gown much, much, much fancier than my sister's. Because my sister was doing something casual, but my mom showed up in this full, like, ball gown with her new boy toy. And I do say boy toy because she gets a new one every month or so. And so not only was she not invited, she brought a date. They proceed to make out a lot of the wedding and a lot of the party afterwards. I find out after the fact that, because I don't know a lot about my former stepsister's other side of the family, but a lot after the fact that this man my mom was dating, and she even introduced as her boyfriend, is actually my sister's stepdad. He is married to her mom. They had a fight about a week or so ago, or they've been fighting a little bit, but they definitely weren't separated or anything along those lines. So my mom was making out with the married man in front of his wife at her daughter's wedding, while she showed her up by wearing a fancy gown. Yeah, and so the groom's side of the family I've never met whatsoever, and they all were like glaring at me because I'm next to my mom and I kind of represent her, and I'm kind of trying to move away, but it's definitely an embarrassing thing because it's making our side of the family look horrific, and it doesn't help my brother's like making out with his girlfriend at the same time, and it's like, come on, you're making us look really bad. Uh, and I was warned that his side of the family is insanely religious. So I already was kind of worried the fact that I was bringing a boyfriend to the wedding. But surprisingly, I was the least scandalous thing there, probably. Because they never mentioned it. I don't know. But my sister had no shame in that. She proudly introduced me as her brother, and that as her, and my partner as my boyfriend. She proudly introduced that with no trouble whatsoever, which was awesome. She didn't try to say friends or anything else, but no, she proudly introduced him as my boyfriend, which was really good. Um, my mom's date tried to involve me a lot. He was trying to be friends with me, he was trying to be like, look, we ordered the same food. He was trying very hard to be friends with me. He would copy something, like Tony would do something, and he would copy it, I guess to blend in or something. Like Tony would make a silly face, then he'd make one at me as well, and I'm like, no. He was very awkward, but also you could tell he was really trying, but I was really rude to him, I'll admit that. But honestly, if you're right there in front of your wife, making out with a different woman, going to a party you weren't invited to as well, he probably was invited, but my mom definitely wasn't. So you knew your date wasn't invited. And you can't pretend that you didn't know that your wife would be there because it's her daughter's wedding. And you do that, so you're cheating on your wife right up and everything. And then the fact that you are making out with the woman you're cheating on in front of her. It's like, that's a horrific thing. But what really got me is that my mom is a horrific person. I believe she's one of the worst people in existence. And he likes her. So he must be a really bad person. Because to think she's good, you'd have to be like comparing it to yourself or something. I don't want to trust anyone who thinks my mom's a good person. What are you doing, Dante? Whatever. Um, so that didn't go good at all, in my opinion, but my sister's mom was insanely rude the whole thing. But not never to my mom or her husband, like you think she would be. She was rude to the waiters and the staff, both at the wedding and then at the after party. After party, it was like a restaurant. So we show up to the restaurant an hour before they close, which I didn't know they closed that early, but I feel like they would have known that. An hour before they closed, with 18 people, no call ahead, no warnings, no anything. They take maybe 30 minutes to seat us, which is amazing. Like, I'd be lucky to get seated that fast if I had two people. So they seat us in about 30 minutes. Both my mom and my sister's mom, they're a big fit about how they've been waiting for hours and it's horrible and da-da-da. Which obviously wouldn't have happened because if you're waiting past the time the shop is even closed, they wouldn't see you. At least I wouldn't. So then the guy asks, what are we celebrating today? Because it's a big group. He assumes we're celebrating, right? And my sister's mom's like, it's obviously a wedding that happened an hour ago. So she changed from hours to 1 hour. Okay. But also obviously a wedding. My sister's not wearing a wedding dress. She's wearing like a sundress kind of thing. My mom's in the formal outfit. And we're all kind of wearing just shirts and fancy pants, like a button-up shirt. And some people are dress pants. I was just wearing black jeans. Like, no one was really formally dressed. It was kind of like a church outfits kind of thing. So he wouldn't have known. But he was... I hand it to this guy. This guy is amazing. He brushed it off, whatever. He's like, oh, congratulations. And then he went out to doing his spiel. He was full of energy the entire time, despite being cussed at and yelled at the entire time. He was happy about it and everything else. We ended up staying about an hour after they closed. And I don't know how long everyone else stayed. That's as long as I stayed. Because I stayed until I got my food and then, slammed it down my mouth and then left. I tried to eat as fast as physically possible. Because I didn't want to be this dick, But he was insanely kind the entire time. Um, he had to stay late and everything, but he was full of energy and goofing off with us. Like he was definitely the best server I've ever had. And the fact that he was good in that situation is amazing because I probably would have just bawled or been like insanely rude or snappy or like I wouldn't have been able to put up with that. So he was amazing. I really wish I got his name. He was great. Um, but it was okay. I definitely wanted to drink. Um, it was a horrible, horrible experience. I definitely wanted to drink, but I also had to drive 2 hours back to Tyler that night. My mom was like, "You're driving back. You're not gonna stay here." It's like, I wasn't invited to stay here. First of all, second of all, Skyla needs to come back to Tyler. Um, I made a deal with my grandmother where my grandmother was supposed to babysit Skylar for the week, a week or two, until Sky has schools again. And basically, my grandma made some excuse about being sick when she wasn't really, because she didn't want to even attempt to go to that train wreck of a wedding, because she knew it would be bad, and it was bad. Uh, so she knew it'd be bad. So she didn't even want to go. So she said she was really sick, and I was supposed to take Skylar to her. Like my mom gave me permission for that. Because if you guys remember, I'm not usually allowed to see Skylar. She is in some of my videos, and it's usually for my grandma's help, which is amazing of her. I'm not supposed to see her whatsoever. Every once in a while, twice or so a year, my mom gives me permission, but I'm really not supposed to see her whatsoever, because I'm gay. Well, I'm pan, but it doesn't matter to her. Um, my grandmother, bless her soul, she gives me ways out, like, oh, you can drive Skylar to my house, and then instead, she's like, hey, just let her spend the night at your house instead, or she'll do something like, it's your day off and Skylar happened to be in town. Do you guys want to go see a movie together? Like she tries to make us hang out, and I love that for her. I love that of her about her, because she knows how much Skylar means to me. But so I need to get Skylar back, and I also knew that if I went the next morning, not only would I have no clothes to change into, I'd have to deal with my mom an entire night and morning. I'd have to rush because I have work that day. I wouldn't get to hang out with Skylar whatsoever. I would probably just drop her off my grandma's and go to work. Because I know I'd have work, and then after work I didn't go see her, so that was like the only time I got to see her was that night. Well, that night, we didn't get home until about 2 a.m. So I really pretty much had to go to bed right away anyway, but, so I didn't really get to hang out with her anyway. But we got to talk a lot in the car, so that's something. Um, sorry, I keep pausing every time I get really nauseated. Okay, so the wedding, I expected there to be physical fights. There wasn't really. Skylar kept throwing her heels at people. When she get mad at him, she'd throw her heels at them. That was funny. Mostly John. Mostly John. Which is, I say John, that's Skylar and, Skylar's father, and, my sister that got married, Carly, that's also her father. So my former stepdad, who isn't, well, it's hard to say if he's worse or better than my mom, but he's not a good person either, so he's a convicted child rapist and molester. He's not supposed to near any children, but of course he's always there, because my mom's best friends with him still, so that's fun. He's always at the house, he's always hanging out, he was at the wedding, like he's always there.
he gets visitation with Skylist. Like my mom lets him spend the night at her house, like lets her spend the night at his house and stuff. So we all hate John. Skylar hates John. Um, Carly hates John. We all hate John, but he was there, and it is his daughter. So we're gonna try to start something, but we definitely don't want to be around him, you know. So fun, but yeah. Amy's just an absolute train wreck. I know this video is a lot shorter than my other ones, and I usually would tattle on for long, a long, long time, but I'm feeling worse and worse as more as I talk, and I'm trying not to pass out or like puke all over the phone. So I'm gonna have to cut it off here. But if you guys have any tips for nausea, that'd be great. TF Com signing off. Bye.